Namaskaromi, swagatam sarvebhyaha. Welcome back. We're ready once again to take on yet another one of our second level topics in Sanskrit grammar. This time it's going to be a fairly straightforward one. It's a construction called the TUMUN in Sanskrit. Sometimes some people call it the tumananta. In English, it's known as the infinitive. The infinitive, the tumun, is an indeclinable construction, an avyayapada. This means that it doesn't get declined or conjugated when you're using it in the sentence. It always is going to look the same. It also means that we can maybe breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief because we're going to encounter far fewer morphological issues than in some of the other things we've been looking at so far. In other words, the infinitive could be kind of easy, believe it or not. So let's get right down to it. The basic meaning of the infinitive in Sanskrit is to do X, where X is your verb. So khaditum, to eat, patitum, to study, datum, to give, shrotum, to hear, gantum, to go. In Sanskrit, this tumun gets used in a lot of the same conditions that we'll find the English usage of to do X. So, for example, often we'll find it in the meaning of in order to do something, for the sake of doing something. Ramaha vruksham drashtum vanam gacchati. Rama goes to the forest to see the tree, in order to see the tree, for the sake of seeing the tree. The formation of the infinitive is going to involve three basic steps. Step one, take your verb, the root, the dhatu, and you gunate it. Gunate the root. So the root kr, to do or make, will become kar. The root yuj, to yoke, harness, control, is going to become yoj. The root bhu, to be or become, will become bho. The gum stays gum, since the guna of is a. Step two, for some verbs, we're going to add a short e, the ikara. This add-on short e is called the it particle in Paninian terms. That's it, you could say. It's kind of fun to use the terms, I'm not going to lie. Anyway, the addition of the it only happens to some verbs and only some of the time. And we'll look at this in a second. Step three, then, is going to be to add the suffix tum, and then that's it, we're done. Gunated root, optional e, and tum as a suffix. Kartum, to do or make, no e. Yoktum, to join, harness, control. Gantum, to go. Notice that we have that sandhi there, where the makara of gum has to turn into the nakara to assimilate to the dental nasal for the of tum. That's it. That's the infinitive. That's the whole thing. The only technicality we need to pay attention to is when to add your optional e and when you don't add it. And this all depends on the root, and so you kind of have to learn it as you start learning the roots the same way that we did when we learned what class roots belong to. The bottom line is going to be that there is one group of roots that always take this optional e. There's another group that sometimes takes the e in some situations and sometimes it doesn't. And then another group that never takes it. The first group, the ones that do take the it, these are called the sate verbs. Literally the sa it, with the it. The roots that don't take the it are called un-it roots. These are literally not it. And finally, the group of roots that sometimes take it, sometimes don't take it, are labeled wait. That is, wa, it. Perhaps it, maybe it. Sate, anit, wait. There you go. Anyway, in our examples, kr, to do or make, is un-it, never the ikara. So are yuj and gum. But to read or study is sate. You always have to add the ikara. Bhu is wait. For making the infinitives, you will add the short e and you get bhavitum to become the e in there. But in other constructions, like in the gerund, we're going to learn this next time, you're not going to add the e. You'll get bhutva, having become. While there are formal grammatical reasons what makes a root sate, wait, or anit, it's something that you'll learn on your own. Basically, as you progress. At the moment, let's just focus on first getting a kind of intuitive recognition of the tumun, this infinitive, learn what it means, and practice forms for common roots. We'll make mistakes, But through the mistakes, we'll learn, right? We'll get a better sense of which roots are going to be sate, vate, or anit. Besides that optional E issue, there's 3 exceptions that we should look at here. First is all 10th class roots are going to form their infinitives not from a gunated root like all the others, but from the stem. If you remember, the stem is going to add an aya. And this aya, you drop the final of the aya, and then you always add your ikara, the it. Then you add your tum. So for the root chur, to steal, you get chorayitum, to steal. Kat, to tell or narrate, we'll get kathayitum. Lavascha kushascha ramasya charitam kathayitum agachataha. Lava and Kusha are coming, agachataha, third person dual, to tell the story of Rama. Charitam ramasya. Look at that. Just look at it for a second and pat yourself on the back if you're able to now read this sentence. Think of how far we've come, right? Another exception is the very common root drush, which means to see, right? If you remember, this becomes pashyati in the present tense. The infinitive of drush doesn't become darshtum like we might expect, but instead it's going to be drashtum. Not darshtum, but drashtum. The same way the root suruj, which means to create or emit, becomes srashtum, to create, to emit. These are forms that we're just going to have to, unfortunately, just learn as we see them. In closing, let's talk about a few important auxiliary verbs that will take the TUMUN, this infinitive, to produce a lot of different useful expressions. So say, for example, you want to say he, she, or it wants to do something, or I want to do something. You'll use the infinitive plus the root ish to wish or want. Ichchati, ichchami. Kanya jalam patum ichchati. The girl wants to drink water. Aham chitram drashtum ichchami. I want to see the picture. Vayam sanskrutena vaditum ichchamaha. We want to speak in Sanskrit. More precisely, we want to speak with or by using the Sanskrit language. Notice the added e here in vad. Vaditum. Vad is a sate root. Another useful expression is he or she is able to do something, or I am able to do something. To do that, we'll use the infinitive plus the 5th class root, shak, to be able to. So kanya jalam patum shaknoti. The girl is able to drink water. Aham chitram drashtum shaknomi. I am able to see the picture. Vayam sanskrutena vaditum shaknumaha. We are able to speak using the Sanskrit language. One final auxiliary verb I want to mention here is a very valuable one. It's how to say, please do something X or Y. One very elegant way this was done was to use the infinitive with the verb ar, which means to be worthy of doing something, to be capable of doing something. So if you said, Tvam jalam patum arhasi, you are, literally what you're saying is you are worthy of drinking the water. Idiomatically, what this means is please drink the water. If you want to use the respectful pronoun bhavan or bhavati, this will make it even more polite. Bhavati jalam patum arhati. The good lady is worthy of drinking the water. Bhavan bhoktum arhati. The good sir is worthy of eating, meaning please eat. It's really quite an elegant and quite useful way of speaking. So that's it. That's the tumun, tumananta, the infinitive. Let's take a break here. Then the next time, what we'll do is look at another fairly straightforward verbal construction, the gerund, or converb, as some people call it, known as the tuanta or lyabanta in Sanskrit. Till then, thank you for watching. See you next time. Punarmilamaha. Dhanyawadaha.